Hello and welcome. My name is Rashi Mogha and I'm your host for this Empowered Women of the World podcast. This podcast is for you, it is for me, and it is for all women who want to take charge of their career and happiness. In this weekly podcast, we'll talk about technology, we'll talk about leadership, and we will talk about mindfulness. We will talk about how you can discover, visualize, and actualize your success, whatever that means to you. We'll also talk about our common opponent, the conscious and unconscious bias which we deal with on daily basis. And we'll share ways to navigate work politics. At the end of each podcast, I will share with you a tip or a free resource that you can use to be successful. It's going to be a fun ride, so hop on and join me on this journey every week. Now, today's topic is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation intended to introduce doubt in a targeted individual, making them question their skills, their confidence, and their sanity. And gaslighting is actually a form of emotional abuse, and you can be dealing with it at work or at home. Now, why did I pick up this topic for this week's podcast? It's because in last 1 week, I've spoken to at least 3 women who are being emotionally abused or gaslighted by their spouse or their managers and co-workers. One of these women is a very dear friend of mine for whom I've known for years. Extremely talented, smart. I was surprised when she opened up to me about the emotional abuse that she was suffering at home for over 15 years. And my first words to her were, "Get out of it. Why are you still in this relationship? What's keeping you in the relationship, and how much more do you have to go through to decide to leave?" But when I started talking to her, I realized that it wasn't easy for her to get out of the situation. She had no confidence left. She had frequent panic attacks, and her emotional hurt had started manifesting itself in physical pain. So, how do you identify if you're being gaslighted at work or at home? And what do you do to get out of the situation? Let's first talk about identifying. How do you identify you're being gaslighted? When you're constantly told that you're good for nothing and you start questioning your own ability, or when you're repeatedly told that you have misunderstood a conversation and are being oversensitive about certain things, or when you're blamed for things that went wrong even though you didn't even make those decisions. These are all warning signs for gaslighting. Now, even before I knew about this term gaslighting, I had actually experienced it at work. My skip level manager at one of the companies that I worked with would regularly make comments and question the ability of the women leaders who were not a part of her inner circle. And once my manager left, I was exposed to this abuse. It was hard for me to function normally when every decision that I made as a leader was questioned. And every time I would get out of a conversation with this manager, I would feel like, I was not capable of doing anything. I was not capable of running this department. I was not capable of leading the team. I was not even capable of writing an email. And when it got to that point, I decided to get out of the situation and left within 3 months. Now, how can you get out of the situation if you are being gaslighted? Now, first and the foremost thing is to acknowledge that you are being abused. There's nothing to be ashamed of in accepting that. When I was in a situation where I was being gaslighted, I was in the state of denial for a few weeks. I thought that the manager was really trying to help me grow by giving me constructive feedback. And it took me a while to realize that every conversation with her left me drained. I felt like I was good for nothing and had no confidence. The second piece is to build your confidence. We stay in abusive relationships because we are insecure and because we have lost our confidence. Now, record smallest successes to bring your confidence back. Surround yourself with positive people who love and support you and who can help you if you are in a situation of self-doubt, because there would be many times after having a conversation with the person who is gaslighting you, you will start questioning your own abilities. You'll be in a situation of self-doubt. And the third piece is to create a plan to get out of the situation. Now, if you are in an abusive situation at work, plan to either move to another job within a company or find a new job. Create a mini project plan for yourself and work towards it. Now, many of us in the first initial weeks when we start experiencing gaslighting feel like, looking for a new job after the conversation happens with the gaslighter. And then in a couple of days, when the dust settles a little bit, you stop looking for a job, and then again a conversation happens with the gaslighter, and you are back in those shoes again. So don't ditch your plan to find a new job. Don't think that the situation would improve, because it will not. So plan to get out of the situation by either finding a job within the company or a new job. And if you're not able to find it and the situation worsens, do not hesitate to take a step and leave the job before you find another job. Now, if you are in an abusive relationship at home, see how you can get out of it. Ask support from your friends and family. Share what you're going through with them. Many women stay in abusive relationships because they are not financially independent. Use the skills you have to become financially independent and build your confidence to move out. Some other women stay in the abusive relationships for their kids, but know that if your kids see you in a miserable state, they won't be happy either. So here are some of the ways that you can plan to get out of the abusive relationship and a situation where you are being gaslighted. Please, I have a request. Do not accept gaslighting. Get out of the situation. You have to get out of the situation for your own sanity. It's not okay for anybody to gaslight somebody else. And today's free resource for you is a link to detox affirmations to help build your confidence. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you so much for loving, liking, supporting, and sharing this podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. I love your feedback, emails, and messages, so please keep them coming. We now have an audience spanning over 21 countries. Our tribe is growing, and I'm so excited about it. I look forward to seeing you again in our next podcast. Till then, keep empowering the world.